practiced the same white supremacy, the black minority in each area being either enslaved or otherwise legally disabled. None of the most common reasons for civil strife were evident. No single or short explanation can capture all the facets of this complex and difficult conflict. But the causes of the Civil War can be simplified immensely by following the example of one eminent historian who asked two questions. First, why did the Southern states want to secede from the Union? And second, why did the Northern states refuse to let them go? Why did the Southern states want to secede from the Union? Much of the answer revolves around what Southerners called their peculiar institution, black slavery. Slavery had not always divided the South from the North. Before the American Revolution, all British colonies in the New World legally sanctioned slavery. Nearly every colony counted enslaved blacks among its population, and most colonists accepted this as normal and inevitable. John Jay, who co-authored the Federalist Papers and who became the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, remembered the widespread acceptance of slavery.
Prior to the Great Revolution, the great body of our people had been so long accustomed to the practice and convenience of having slaves that very few among them even doubted the propriety and rectitude of it. Some liberal and conscientious men had, indeed, by their conduct and writings, drawn the lawfulness of slavery into question, and they made converts to that opinion. But the number of those converts, compared with the people at large, was then very inconsiderable.
The liberating spirit of the American Revolution, however, had caused many Americans to challenge slavery. Quakers organized the world's first anti-slavery society in Philadelphia in 1775. Soon similar organizations dotted the colonies. Many states offered freedom to blacks who enlisted in the military. Vermont was the first to abolish the peculiar institution in 1777. State after state followed, with either outright abolition or gradual emancipation. In 1804, New Jersey became the last remaining state north of Maryland to eliminate slavery. Meanwhile, the Continental Congress had passed the Ordinance of 1787, prohibiting slavery in the western territories north of the Ohio River. Slavery was more economically entrenched in the southern colonies, but even there, the Revolution's radical assault upon human bondage made significant inroads. Most of the southern states banned the importation of slaves. Southern societies encouraged masters to free their slaves, and several states relaxed the legal barriers to manumission, that is, voluntarily freeing a slave. Such enlightened Southern statesmen as Thomas Jefferson condemned slavery and endorsed steps towards its ultimate extinction. But Jefferson, a slaveholder himself, expressed strong reservations about the two races coexisting after emancipation.
Nothing is more certainly written in the book of fate than that these people are to be free. Nor is it less certain that the two races, equally free, cannot live in the same government. Nature, habit, opinion has drawn indelible lines of distinction between them. It is still in our power to direct the process of emancipation and deportation peaceably, and in such slow degree as that the evil will wear off insensibly, and their place be filled up by white laborers.
By the time the federal Constitution was drafted in 1787, anti-slavery fervor had cooled. On one hand, the Constitution gave a nod to anti-slavery convictions. It never used the term slavery, and it contained a clause permitting Congress to outlaw the Atlantic slave trade after 20 years.
Article 1, Section 9. The migration or importation of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit shall not be prohibited by the Congress prior to the year 1808. But a tax or duty may be imposed on such importations, not exceeding $10 for each person.
On the other hand, the Constitution made two key concessions to